students, how are you all doing? Good. I hope you all are studying also at home. Have you completed all the assignment that I have given you in your previous chapter, history, and the notes which I have uploaded on parent portal? I hope you have done all that work. Good. Today we will be starting with the next chapter of civics, that is democracy. This is chapter number 1, video number 1. Clear? That was the video part 1, part 2, that was for history chapter. Today we will be starting the fresh video. So this is video number 1. I hope you all are having a copy with you. Please, if you are not having, please take out your copies and sit down. So, shall we start? Good. Now, democracy. You know, democracy is the most common topic talked about. Everybody talks about democracy. But what is democracy? What do we mean by when we say democracy? Is our country, is India a democratic country? If yes, then how are we establishing, how are we practicing democracy? From where are we going to get these answers? Who will give the answers to all these questions? The answers you will get on your own. You will get it from the area you live. You will get it from the people you talk with. You will get it from the discussions you have with those people. No, democracy basically means, this democracy, it basically means rule of the people. Now, when I say rule of the people, it does not mean that we are sitting there in the government and we are ruling, but we are directly or indirectly a part of that system. How are we directly or indirectly a part of our system? How are we related with the government? How? Think, come on. Have you seen when elections happen, have you seen your parents going out and voting and electing their representative? What do they basically do? They basically go out, they give their vote. It is they, it is we who have the power to select our government. We have this power. We have been given this power that we can select our own representative. And if we are not satisfied with their functioning, we are not satisfied with their work, we have the power to change the government. We people, we common man have full power to change the government if we are not satisfied with them. Now, if you remember, in 2009, suppose I'm talking about just previous 5, 10 or 15 years, not going much back, or basically let's not go that back, I'll talk about 2014 only. In 2014, we elected a government. Now, we were satisfied with the functioning, so again in 2019, we elected the same government. But in 2009, there was a different government. When 2014, the time came to again decide if we are satisfied with that government or we want to change it. We thought that we should give an opportunity to the next government now because we were not happy or maybe we were not satisfied with that. So 2014, the government changed. But 2019, the government, we re-elected them. So who has the ultimate power with them? It's we. We common man who have the ultimate power to select our government. That is why what I mean when I say that we are directly or indirectly a part of the system. Clear? Now this democracy, it is derived from two words. That is demos and kratos. Demos means people, kratos means power. Now when I combine these two words, demo, kratos, people, power, what does it become? It becomes people's power, power of the people. Like what I said, that it is we who have full power to select our government. This is what democracy basically is. Okay? Democracy is basically rule of the people. We are selecting a government. We are giving them right to act on our behalf and work for us. Clear? Now, there is a very famous definition given by Abraham Lincoln that democracy, what democracy means. Democracy is of the people, for the people, and by the people. This is what democracy is. Abraham Lincoln gave a very famous definition of democracy, that democracy is of the people, for the people, and by the people. Clear? Clear about this term democracy means? If we'll just have a recap, democracy, it is rule of the people, which is derived from two words, demos and kratos. Demos means people, kratos means power. So ultimately democracy means power of the people. There is a very famous definition given by Abraham Lincoln that the democracy is of the people, for the people, and by the people. Now, to understand democracy in a much better way, it is also necessary for us to understand what are the other forms of government. Like this democracy, it is one form of government. Now it is important to know what are the different other forms of government. So that we'll be discussing now. You have written this in your notebook. So next, move to the next topic, that is forms of government. Please write down. Okay, so democracy we have done. I told you that to understand democracy in a better way, it is important for us to understand different other forms of government. Democracy is one form. Now, what are the other forms of government? That we'll study now. So, the first form is absolute monarchy. Now the other form is absolute monarchy. What is absolute monarchy? I'll tell you. So absolute monarchy, it is rule by the king or queen. When the rule is by the king or the queen, that is called absolute monarchy. Here, their powers are then transferred to their next higher. Higher means next generation. Suppose A is the king. Now, when he dies, he gives his power to his son. So, his son will automatically, without people voting or electing, he becomes the king. That is called absolute monarchy. The other form of government is dictatorship. One is absolute monarchy, the other one is dictatorship. Have you heard the name of Hitler? I think everybody must have heard some from here or there. Hitler is the most common, the most famous personality that we know. You know that his rule is the perfect example of dictatorship. You know what happens in dictatorship? Like I told you when I was talking about democracy, I told you that we, the common man, have full right to go out, to vote, to elect our representatives. And if we are not satisfied with them, we again have the right to change the government. But when we talk about dictatorship, things are not the same. In dictatorship, it is like one man law, one man rule. Whatever he decides, that is final. He is not going to consult it with anybody. He is not going to take people's opinion. He don't give right to anybody to elect him or to select him or to give their inputs. It is that one man who has decided the things will happen that way. This is what dictatorship is. Clear? Rule or absolute monarchy, it is ruled by the king or queen. When I talk about dictatorship, it is rule of one man who don't take inputs, who don't consult with anybody. You know, this absolute monarchy and this dictatorship have few things in common. Can you tell me those things? Wait. First of all, they both have absolute powers. They both have absolute powers. Absolute monarchy also and dictatorship also. They both, that is absolute monarchy and dictatorship, they are above the law. And the third similarity is they are not accountable. Clear? When I talk about the similarities, the first one is they both have absolute power. Absolute monarchy and dictatorship. They both are above the law. They don't think that any law is made for them. They themselves are above the law. And the third one is they are not accountable to anybody. They are not accountable to any person or any public. Whatever they have done, they have done. They are not going to answer anybody. They are not accountable to anybody. These are the three similarities in this two forms of government. Clear? So, we have done democracy. We have done forms of government. Now, we move to the next topic, that is types of democracy. What are the two different types of democracy? That we are going to discuss now. Clear? Write down. Now, the next one is types of democracy. You know, there are basically two types of democracy. That is direct democracy and indirect democracy. What is direct, what is indirect, that I am going to tell you now. Can you all think what do you mean when I say direct democracy and indirect democracy? Think? Shall I tell? Okay. You know what? When I talk about direct democracy, it means people are not electing any representative. They themselves are ruling, or they themselves are the part of the government. When I talk about indirect democracy, in indirect democracy, people elect their representative who work on their behalf. This is what indirect democracy. Clear? Direct democracy, people themselves are the part of the system. Indirect democracy, they elect their representative who works on their behalf. Now, if we talk about practical things, practically such type of democracy is not at all possible for a country with a huge population. We don't follow direct democracy. We follow indirect democracy. You know how I have already explained you how we are a part of the system. We elect our representative through votes. We have given them the power to make laws, to work on our behalf, to make laws, to make things a better way for us. This is what we practice in India. That is indirect democracy. Clear? Now, when I talk about direct and indirect, in direct democracy, how do they work? Basically, how the things work or things operate in direct democracy. Suppose they have to make a law or they have to pass a law. How will they do that? It will be done by people's voting. People altogether will vote for that law to work, for that law to be passed or no. This is how direct democracy works. In indirect democracy, we have already elected our representative Now we have given him full right to work on our behalf, to make laws on our behalf, because he's acting as a representative who is sitting at the top. He's acting as a representative whom we have selected. He will make laws work for us. Clear? Clear with these two forms of democracy, two types of democracy, direct democracy and indirect democracy. Okay, now before giving you the assignment, let us just have a recap of what we all have done today. So, how we started a chapter today? We started a chapter today with meaning of democracy. Now, who will tell me what is democracy? Tell me. Who will give me the answer of democracy? Democracy in basic general definition given by Abraham Lincoln is, yes, of the people, for the people and by the people. Very good. Democracy as given by Abraham Lincoln means for the people, of the people and by the people. Democracy, it is derived from two different words, demos and kratos. Demos means people, kratos means power, that is power of the people. Clear? Till here you all have understood? Then I told you that there are different forms of government. I told you about absolute monarchy. I told you about dictatorship. What did I explain you in absolute monarchy? What did I tell you in absolute monarchy? I told you the rule by the king or queen is absolute monarchy. Clear? In that it will be transferred to their higher, then to their higher. This is how absolute monarchy works in a hierarchy. That is not hierarchy basically to the next generation. Then I told you about dictatorship. Dictatorship is one man's rule, one man's law, where he don't allow anyone else to interrupt in between whatever he has decided. That is final. Then after discussing these two forms of government, I told you the similarities between these forms of government. What were the similarities? First one was they both have absolute powers. Then they are above the law. And third one is they are not accountable to anybody. Clear till here? Okay. Then we move to types of democracy. I told you there is direct democracy, indirect democracy. Direct democracy is practically not possible because in such type of democracy, people themselves, among themselves, they rule or they vote or they do such things to pass a law or not, which practically is not possible. Because everybody will, when they start giving their ideas, they sit on the front and work, it is not possible. Indirect democracy, when we elect one representative who works on our behalf, who makes laws on our behalf and for us, that is called indirect democracy. This is what is practically possible in today's era. Now I will be giving you an assignment. Please write down the question that I am writing here. So we have done the chapter. Please write down this assignment. Assignment number 1. Write down in your copy. Question number 1. What is democracy? Write down. What is democracy? Write down question number 2. Name the different forms of government. This is the question number 2. In this question, you only have to name the forms of government. Clear? Question number 3. What is absolute monarchy? monarchy. What is absolute monarchy? In this question, basically, you have to explain. I have explained you about an absolute monarchy. That you have to explain it here. Clear? So these questions, you have to do it in your notebook the same way as you have done your history part. You will be writing Civics, Chapter 1, Democracy. You'll be writing whatever notes I have explained you today. Also, I will be uploading the notes of this chapter as I've done for history in your parent portal. But before that, you write those small notes which I have given you today here in the whiteboard. Write down that. Write down assignment number 1. Write down these 3 questions and write down the answers. Hope you all understood what I have taught you today. And please students, it's a tough time for everybody. Please don't just waste this time sitting idle at home. These videos will be of great help to you. Please go through these videos, not only social science but all the other subjects on a daily basis. Go through those videos. Whatever assignments have been given to you, please do those assignments. Okay? Till then,